Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Coach Red, where we bring you all the news, stories, takes, and opinions about your favorite teams from the Pacific North, fresh from the good to the bad to the Mariners.
Oh, it's the Mariners, baby.
The sweet, sweet Mariners.
Winners of their last four series, Mariners.
Wow. Just leading off with that. Wow. Not even
Yep.
a tease. Come on. You got to keep
what?
people intrigued.
They're intrigued enough. The Mariners are winning.
They are winning, and we're winning here on this podcast. And if you want to know a little bit more about us, check us out on social media. If you're looking for a guy that, if I were the GM for the Mariners, I would have been like old school Trader Jerry, wheeling and dealing, getting mid-tier guys that outperform and also getting some that vastly underperform. You would end up calling me Trader Jerry, and that's me, your boy, Coach Red. You can find me on Twitter at the real Coach Red, on Instagram at the real _ Coach Red. Also, follow us on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, leave a comment or two. While you're at it, check out the podcast page, Insta, Twitter at Coach Red Pod. Follow us, follow us, follow us. Do it, freaking do it. If you're looking for a guy that might want to take a flyer on, let's just throw any name out there. Rookie year Dustin Ackley. And go make some wild trades. Might have to refer to him as Trader Scary. Maybe you're looking for a guy like Cain.
Yeah, you can call me Trader Scary all you want. You can find me on Twitter at Kane2406, on YouTube at Kane06, TikTok and Kick Kane0624.
So you alluded to it already. A couple more series wins. We got Diamondbacks and Red Sox. I was doing a little bit of traveling, didn't get to keep up as much on the Serpentines series, but let's hear a little bit about it.
Well, in the opener, they win it 5-2. First inning, they went crazy and went up 2-0. Cal hit a double, of course. He's on fire right now.
He's heating up. If we were playing NBA jams, he'd be heating up right now.
Yeah. Roped a double, scored 2. Tom Murphy also looking very, very good lately.
Mike Ford's about to lose his spot.
Yeah. Tom Murphy doubled. 2 people scored on that. Eugenio Suarez, another guy who's playing very well right now, singled another 2 scores.
What's really weird?
What's that?
When a lot of people are playing well, your team wins more often.
It's true.
These are a lot of names, and not a lot of names that we've been talking about super recently. I know we've touched a little bit on Gino with his power surge coming back. Tom Murphy was getting hot, but Cal wasn't, and it's good to see Julio's creeping up a little bit. And Ty France went 500 in the Diamondback series as well. He's coming back to form. He's coming on strong too. So good things.
Game 2.
All we need to know is about game 2 is the Mariners had a shot in the 9th. Cade Marlowe lead off or 1-out triple and 2 chances to score him doesn't happen. But did the Mariners technically win that game? Because the game-winning RBI was by Canzone.
That's true. That's what I was just about to say. So it's a little espionage going on there. But yeah, they did end up losing that game. Unfortunate, but as you know, it is what it is. Game 3, they shut them down. In the first, Mike Ford walked, bases loaded, scored 1. Ty France singled in that game. That scored 1.
Castillo was strong.
Yeah, JP, rare JP bomb. Rare JP bomb.
He's already at career. He's tied career high right now. He needs one more to set a new one.
And not to mention, he absolutely destroyed that baseball. Absolutely demolished it. And then
Mollywopped it.
Eugenio Suarez singled again. It's all about the base hits. Love to see it. Another game with 10 hits. It's looking good. So let's jump into the Red Sox series, Coach. I'll let you go with the first game there.
Okay, perfect. So, game one, the night that Paul Sewell was traded. We're going to talk about the trades a little bit more that were made here later. But before we do that, what a great Mariner. Just great
Yeah.
bravado. And he's very honest. He knew that the team didn't play up to the expectations that they had set for themselves. But he was also very grateful because he was a 31-year-old pitcher on a minor league deal that ends up working his way into a closer role. And I don't know what it is with the Mariners and their like pitching lab that they are putting together, but they seem to get the best out of guys. And Paul Sewald is definitely one. Great guy. Wish him nothing but luck down in Arizona.
Yeah.
And you know what? If the Mariners don't win the World Series, I want Arizona to do it because you got our boy Paul Sewald down there. You've got former Mariner Ketel Marte, and you got Seattle's own Corbin Carroll. So,
Who's
but
who's the rookie of the year? The dude is playing insane.
so let's get off to the first inning of that game where George Kirby, first batter, walks Jaron Duran, who then proceeds to steal second. Cal airmails one. Then Julio airmails one to third. So one batter into the game, we have a walk, stolen base, and two errors. And I said, wow, that's how the non Paul Sewald era is going to start. And I wasn't too happy. But guess who settled in? I'm going to call him like Uncle Rocker because he just seems like he's on a rocking chair out there. George Kirby goes 5 strong innings. Pitch count got high because he did have some battles with Duran. I think Duran had him for 8 pitches in the 3 at-bats he had against Kirby for a total of 24. So it really jacks up the stat line, but keeps him in the game. And the Mariners claw back. You have Cal Raleigh goes yard. Then you have Cal Raleigh goes yard again. And then you have an eighth inning where the doors just break open and, it's a little bit of everything. There's walks, there's big hits, big timely hits. J Rod trying to shake off that stigma of not having late inning success and ropes one. And you get a big enough lead where you don't have to burn your big Nick because Munoz came in the eighth to get the final out and was raring to go for 3. Well, when you put up a 5 spot in the inning, you're good to go. So they're able to go to Isaiah Campbell and J.P. Crawford just do a J.P. Crawford things, laying out up the middle to ice the game last out. And also in that same game, Geno Smith is playing bananas third base right now. His third base defense is a sight to be seen.
Gino Suarez
Yeah, what did I say?
Smith.
It's
He kept
training.
it in this.
It's training camp time. I got a lot of Geno time going on here. But yeah,
Rare coach blunder.
yep. I feel like that's a shout out to John Clayton because he used to mix up some names. I think he always called Juju Smith Schuster Juju Schuster Smith every time. So it'll happen. But yeah, big win. Didn't play super well against the Red Sox Fenway earlier this year, so good to jump out in game one. Game two was at the game, and wasn't Bryce Miller's best start. Was a little susceptible to the long ball, but the Mariners kept doing enough to just stay in the game. Gino brings them close. Ty France stays hot. Cade Marlowe's hitting the heck out of the ball. Canzone's doing some things in his first game as a Mariner, and they just couldn't put it together. But my bright and shining star from this game was Thornton. He goes 2 1/3 innings in relief and goes under 30 pitches, and I believe only gave up 1 hit. I mean, you know what I mean? I want a little bit of an inning eater in the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
And after the outing, and it wasn't like it was the lowest leverage. It was still a 2-run game. So he's sitting there and he kept us right in it, right there.
Yeah, I did watch the game last night just to check out the new guys to see how they did. Canzone did have that big double. That was pretty cool to see.
He also on an inside pitch went like left center gap and hit it about 360.
Yeah.
It was about on the dirt of the right in front of the 379 sign. So I'm gonna say about 19 feet to the track.
Seeing Gino go deep, always always a
Almost
sight to
tanked.
see. Always a sight to see. And then you had, the back-to-back doubles in the sixth from Canzone and Ty France. Uh
Bryce Miller got hit around a little bit.
Rojas just looked so lost at the plate.
Mhm.
So lost. Hey, anybody say Colton Wong replacement? It's just not pretty to see. And then let's jump to today's game, where he strikes again. Cal Raleigh hits another home run against an AL East team. It's great. They went up early. Duran homered. Yoshida reached on a single, so they went up early 3-0. 6 innings where they finally got going, and that's what you'd like to see with this team. They got 10 hits, and it all happened in the 5th or later. So you had Cal 2-run bomb again. Marlo singled. Julio got a single. Gino got a single. And then to add the icing on the cake, Gino stole second.
Mhm.
And
Stopped.
the catcher thought it was a fantastic idea to throw it to second to give Julio enough time to reach home.
Yeah.
Not the brightest of moves there,
Not for your
Chief.
fastest guy on the team.
No. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I'll take it.
And pitching staff just came out and shut the door. So it's great to see.
We're on a roll, man. Like you said, that's 4 series wins and, sitting within 5.5 games of the division and 3.5 of the wild card. You got a big series coming up with a quick trip down to the Angels. And it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. And it's going to be a real test because the Angels, the Rangers, and the Astros kind of went for it a little bit here at the deadline. And the Angels really are pushing their chips in right now. And doesn't help that they were playing the Braves during
And
this.
they put 9 on Lucas Giolito, newest acquisition.
Yeah, but they made some of those big moves, and it's really going to be we're going to see what happens over the weekend.
Yep.
But let's start out with
Let's talk
talking about some trades. We're going to break down.
first let's talk about how we feel about the trade. Like
The trade
how the
deadline, I
how
don't
the
know. Let's
Mariners
see how you feel about it because you called me yesterday and you were opinionated.
I am not very happy with the Mariners trade deadline. I feel like Jerry could have pulled something.
Justin Hollander.
Whatever. He's right. He's still under Jerry,
Yes.
but I you're this close in the race. You're in it. You're playing well. I get you don't really want to shake up the team that much, but you have to do something because look at Texas. They went out. They got Scherzer. They went out. They got Jordan Montgomery. They went out and got arms. They went out and got sticks. The Angels did stuff like you said.
What
And
sticks did they get down in Texas? They got Austin Hedges because Jonah Heim's banged up. That's about it.
I think they got another hit or two, but they also Houston got Verlander back. It's
Cost them 2 prospects, but they're saving a boatload of money to the contract they wish they was like with the money the Mets are eating. Like, hey, we didn't have Verlander for half a year, but guess what? We got him back on a steal of a contract. So we only owe him 29 mil over the next 2 years.
They're eating Verlander's contract, and I believe they're eating Scherzer's contract as well.
They are not eating as much of Verlanders.
Right. But they're still eating both guys. I just with this division as close as it is at this point, it's kind of shocking to see how close it is between the four teams. And all they did was get two pitchers and a career 233 hitter or 223 hitter, and Canzone was the sweet deal or the sweet pot, of the deal.
The sweet pot,
Whatever.
the little honey hole.
I just feel like they could have done a little bit more, especially going down this second half.
I'm going to ask you a question. For this trade deadline, what was being traded the most MLB player wise? Starting pitching.
Yeah.
And second relievers, third hitters. So when you look at the construct, your rotation's fine. You could have maybe traded one of your young stars, but what were you actually going to get in return that warranted that to give up 5+ years of control? Down the road in the off season, let's get crazy. Maybe Miami's getting squirrely and doesn't want Jazz anymore. I'll trade Byron Wu for Jazz Chisholm every day this week.
Yeah.
So, okay. So relievers, we end up trading a reliever because we have a strong pen as best pen in the month of July. So you trade Paul Sewald, year and a half left. That's how you're able to get the assets you get in return. You get Josh Rojas, who as recently as last year was worth 3.3 WAR. He's having a down year, but he is a later bloomer to the majors, coming in at 29. This really only being his second full season with the big club. So you're hoping that they're still a little bit untapped, and apparently this is the guy that the Mariners were insisting be included. That's why this trade didn't happen sooner, is what they said. It could have happened a week or so before, but they wanted Rojas. Canzone kind of reminds me a little bit of a smaller Mitch Haniger, sweet AAA numbers, kind of blocked all the way around by all the studs that the Diamondbacks have in the outfield. So a little bit of hole for us with Kelnick being out now, uncertainty with Teo for the future. And then you go ahead and you get Bliss, who was a futures game participant, has swiped 35 bags in the minors this year. Big uptick in a hitter-friendly AA park. Had batting 332 throughout the minors this year. He slowed a little bit since hitting AAA, but excited to see what that athletic profile is at. So there's the reliever. Who was the biggest hitter that was traded this cycle?
Josh Bell got traded.
Okay, Josh Bell hasn't looked good since he got traded last year. Jake Berger, Mark Canha, Randy
Yeimer
Grichuk.
Condolado. I don't know.
Would you classify any of those guys as an impact bat that would have altered the team?
Candelario maybe because he can hit both sides.
But not much, right? But for a Candelario is also a third baseman. You got Gino getting hot. You can take at bats away from Gino? Probably not. Like I was telling you, I saw a Bleacher Report come out and say, trade for Lane Thomas. He has 2.5 years of club control. And I liked Lane Thomas. I liked him a lot. Top of the lineup type hitter, gets on base very well, something the Mariners have struggled to do all season. But they said, you're going to give up your number 2 prospect in Cole Young, who has done nothing but rake since joining pro ball straight from high school last year. I'm not trading for a guy that Lane Thomas wasn't even the all-star on a bad Washington team. If you can't be the all-star candidate from that team, I'm not going to give you my number 2 prospect who is rocketed up board since he was drafted, where he wasn't even in the top 100 after the draft, but I think he's within the top 60 right now.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
not giving that up for Lane Thomas. I'll give that up for if they want to. If I could have gotten Nolan Arenado, and I would have given up Wu and Cole Young. I'll do that because Nolan Arenado is a certified stud and has done it for years. He's a
Yeah,
every year Gold Glove. He's an every year All Star.
the trade deadline was very, very, very weird because
So much starting pitching going everywhere.
yeah, I think as soon as the Angels withdrew with Otani, that's why it died. Because I feel like if Otani would have been dealt, a lot more teams would have made moves.
Yep.
And it's very it's just tough to see though with the race going on and every team adding kind of except the Mariners just being where they're at.
Yeah. All right. So let's go jump into the trades now, the actual ones. So I don't know how to pronounce the guy we got from Baltimore. It's like Bizardo or something like that. He's rocking a 13 ERA in the bigs this year, but apparently he's got something the Mariners see. I think he went to AAA because he was DFA'd by the Orioles. We end up trading Logan Reinhart for him. So this is probably a guy where they see stuff, get him a little work in AAA, working with the pitching gurus to see if he can develop or be more effective with one, like highlight the one pitch. Like Paul Sewald before he came was a heavy fastball guy. It's like, nope, you're gonna throw the slider 60 to 70% of the time. You change your grip slightly, and then you're gonna live at the top zone with the fastball. And it worked wonders for Paul Sewald. So those little tweaks are something that you're hoping for this.
Right.
The other one, DFA, was Thornton coming from the Blue Jays.
Bronco.
And the one thing that like I was kind of shocked that he got DFA'd because this year for Toronto, granted it was only 6 games, but he had like a 1.67 ERA. He has 4 years in the bigs with well over 100 appearances, and he's rocking like a 3.78 ERA, which is not bad for any reliever that's not a closer. If your closer's rocking a 3.78, it's not great, but anyone besides the closer that's around there for career numbers in today's major league, I'll take that pretty well.
Yeah, you know who else shocked me that got DFA'd was Jorge Mateo out of Baltimore. He got edged out, that's for sure, with all their young talent. That I would not have minded the Mariners maybe snagging him because he is a speed demon.
I like speed, and that was something that while I was at the game yesterday with my buddy, he's like, "Dude, Jaron Duran, like speed kills. Like this team's fast. They run." He's like, "If we're not hitting the ball out of the park, and we're not necessarily hitting, we're looking at like OPS. Like our top OPS guy right now is JP Crawford, and it's you know below 800, or it's like in the 800s or below 800. It's not good." So why aren't you getting these guys in motion more? Like the Julio, the Caballero, Dylan Moore. Canzone looks like he's got some wheels on him. Getting these guys in motion a little bit more to put pressure on defense because you saw, game one, Canzone one steal turns into a run.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
then
but back to Thornton, where we can't just miss Thornton.
sorry,
Thornton has a funky ass motion, and he looks a little wacky up there. Yeah,
well,
but
the nice little specs he's got on.
yeah, the goggles, those are sweet.
Yeah.
But granted, small sample size, saw him in person, but I really like what I saw. You got a fastball. He's got a two seamer that comes in about 92. He's got a four seamer that ratcheted up to about 95. He's got a sweeper that's coming in with a ton of movement from like a 3/4 pitch angle. That's got people looking silly.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this is a guy where I don't know if he's gonna slot into your high leverage stuff. You're gonna need some to see a little bit more. But with your high leverage guys being Spire, Munoz, Topa, and Brash right now, he's got to work his way into those graces. But I mean, I really like what I saw.
No,
You
there
didn't
there
really give
was
up anything for him.
There was I liked what I saw from Sweet last night too.
Yeah, he did give up a homer.
Yeah, they were in the lead.
All right, let's talk about the big trade. Paul Sewald, Mariners closer, C.S. Wald is gone. You end up getting
Yeah.
three prospects. We kind of touched it already. Um, you like Canzone as kind of the sweet pot. The Mariners said Josh Rojas was the guy that they were targeting, and you got that up and comer in Bliss, who's in AAA, was drafted 2 years ago, and there's a lot of scouts. God, who was it? Big time scout saw his tweet where a couple years ago he goes, "Some team is going to draft him in the second round or later, and are going to be very happy because you've just drafted your second baseman for the next 10 years."
All right. That's something the Mariners need as a second baseman.
And he, before he was even drafted a long time ago, way, way long ago, he had said goals, baseball, Seattle, something. And the guy played at Auburn.
Yeah.
It's a dream come true. It's a it's a real fairy tale story.
um, from what I heard and read was that because Canzone tore it up in AAA this year. Absolutely.
I think it was like 344 average.
Yeah. And I like lefties with a sweet swing. And he looks like he has a really nice swing.
He's got a pretty
Rojas.
complete swing. I like it because he did go opposite field a couple of times and put some power behind it too.
And you know who else was really good at that? Mitch Haniger,
Yeah.
as you said. But we seem to get these players from the Diamondbacks, and they do turn out well for the Mariners. I mean, Gene
I hope
Segura was not bad for
Segura
us.
was the centerpiece of that deal
Yeah,
at the
and
time.
then Mitch Haniger just blew up.
But they said that Jerry back then said, Mitch, like Segura's the headliner right now, but it's going to be known as the Mitch Haniger trade.
Yeah.
And he was right. And I think that they like Rojas a lot. He has versatility, play a couple of different positions. He's like the new Abraham Toro, if you will, playing second and third,
Yeah.
right? That's Jerry DePoto's sweet spot. Give me a guy who can play second, but can you play third? If the answer is no, don't want him because Gabby's also played a little third, so we're welcome. But I think with Rojas, you see that. I mean, 3.3 WAR is pretty solid WAR, and it was as recent as last year. So
Mhm.
he's having a down year. That's nothing to bat an eye about. But and like you said, I was not super stoked with what I saw yesterday. That bats were not good.
No.
So it'll be interesting to see how it develops because it's tough when you're dealing with younger guys or guys from other teams because it's really tough to follow. And when you're looking at these guys who are younger and aren't the profile guys on a team, it's tough to know what their game is. And like with the relievers you get, you can look at numbers and stats all the time, but sometimes those numbers and stats don't give you the whole story. Case in point, I've talked about it before. Paul Sewald. Paul Sewald, when he came in to get work where the Mariners were up a couple runs, that's when Paul Sewald was bad, giving up homers, giving up multiple runs. But when it came to clutch time, Paul Sewald was about as nails as you could be this year. I think he had one blown save, and the Mariners didn't lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
So in clutch time, he's your guy, and that's what you want. So it's really tough to see, what situation are you put in? Are you facing a team that day for the Baltimore guy? He comes in, the team they're playing is hitting the absolute tail off of the ball, and some days you run into a team that all they can do is score runs and just keep scoring runs, and there's nothing you can do
Mm.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing about Seawald out is he was a fan favorite with the clubhouse, a fan favorite for the fans. Uh,
And it comes at
it
a tough time because Munoz did not have the best July.
right. Um, it's just nice to see that they came out of it and are still playing well.
Yeah,
It's really nice to see.
and I think that like Teoscar Hernandez, legitimately on Monday night, I said this might be his last at bat. He hits a swinging bunt for an RBI. I go, wow, that's totally the last thing I would have ever expected. And then he's on team. He's giving people hugs because he thought he was gone. And you look at these types of things where if you make that Teo trade, he would have been the biggest impact bat that would have been moved at the trade deadline. I would say that. And
Yeah.
but what are you going to get in return? You got the guys from Arizona. We're expecting them to play, but Jared Kelenic still out. You're not overly deep in the outfield because that would put you at Canzone, Julio, Tatram, and Cade Marlowe. So
Right.
that's not the deepest thing, and you're losing a lot of pop out of your lineup. So doing that would have punted on the season.
Yeah, he is one of the most power bats on the team.
Yes. But before we go any further, I do want to say one thing. I want to ask you, who was this is a new thing that we're going to start doing? Who was your favorite Mariner of the week and why?
Who's my favorite Mariner of the week?
I wonder who. You only yelled about him.
Big Dumper.
Well, why?
I love Big Dumper because he owns AL East teams. Just from last year, but this year he's got like a crazy amount of homers against the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. It's amazing when he is on it. He's on it, and he ropes the ball everywhere. Love Cal Raleigh. Coach, who was yours?
I was really close to picking Ty France because he did have a really good week where he was batting around 500, which is something you need from Ty France. You need Ty France's batting average to jump about 10 to 15 points, maybe even 20 from now until the end of the season for you to be a contender. If it stays where it's at or goes down, you're going to be in a world of hurt. But big week for Ty France. But he is not my Mariner of the week. My Mariner of the week is former Savannah Banana, Cade Marlowe. Cade Marlowe hits his first big league home run. He hits a triple in the week. At the game I was at, he was 2 for 3, I believe, because he also drew a walk. I mean, the guy's putting his defense is not my favorite thing in the world. He might as well call him Magellan because he's going all over the map on some of these routes. But the guy's putting the ball in play and he's got good speed.
Yep.
And I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of him. And if he's your 9 hitter and he's getting on base and the way JP's also getting on base, Julio heating up, that was a big key for the Mariners last year is the bottom of the lineup producing. JP getting on in the 9 hole. You
Yep.
know, Cal when he was down further in the lineup, Demo, Haggerty getting on and Julio staying hot and rolling that lineup over. When you're now when you can get those 9 hitters on, JP's doing a great job with runners in scoring position. Julio is getting back to what we expect Julio to be. Gino's heating up. So there's your 1, 2, 3 that can potentially hit in these guys.
Yep.
So big ups, Cade Marlowe, because I thought he had a fantastic week. And dependent on what he did today, because I couldn't look at the stats, his batting average at the start of the Boston series was at 200. And by the end of it, it almost raised 100 points to 300.
It's true. It's
And
true.
it was below 200 at the start of the Diamondback series.
Yeah,
Big
he's
week.
been very good. He's
It's
been
like a
very good.
200 point swing. Limited at bats.
Just
I
Cal.
know.
Cal has just been destroying the ball lately.
Yeah. And like we said, you were doing it earlier, you're naming off a bunch of guys, and we can do that. And that's fun. And that means the Mariners are winning. And
Yep.
the pitching staff is still doing what they need to do. You know, you're still having a rough start every now and again. Like I said, Bryce Miller did not have his best start, but guess what? It happens. It's how you can persevere through because even today, Logan Gilbert gives you a quality start because he goes 6 innings, it gives up 3 runs, isn't in line for the win, but kept the Mariners within striking distance where in the 7th and 8th inning, they could take the lead and eventually steal it away.
Yep.
So give me the Mariners, inject them in my veins, and just keep winning series. That's what it's going to boil down to. If you can
Yep.
continue to win series, that's going to be great. You can lose a series here and there. Don't lose it to people that you're fighting and jockeying for spots, and you need to sweep the A's the rest of the season. Those are wins you have to take.
And you have to take a series from Texas.
Yes, and continue at least split with Houston so you have the tiebreak over them. Because God, it would
Yep.
be so fun to chase them down and win the division somehow because of a tiebreaker. Those cheating assholes.
That would be fantastic, but we still have a lot of baseball left, and we'll see where the season goes. I hate how they're playing with my emotions. They keep doing it. They tug at my heartstrings,
But they're fun to
and
watch again.
that's true. They are in fact having fun. When you have fun, you win.
You know what else could be a little fun? Following us on social media. How about that?
That's right. Hold on. Hey, actually, we can't say Twitter anymore. I forgot. It's now X.
You can follow me on Twitter at the real Coach Red. Follow me on Instagram at the real underscore Coach Red. Hop on over and also check us out on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, leave a comment or two. While you're at it, hop over Twitter or X and Insta at Coach Red Pod. Follow us. Do it, freaking do it. Cain, where you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Kane2406, on YouTube at Kane06, TikTok and Kick Kane0624.
And as always, stay fresh.
Stay fresh, peeps.
Peace.